Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Explain It podcast with myself, Ingryd Hernandez, TheCarolineCain, who went to go get her phone. And um, today's guest, John, am I going to say it right?
Galan.
Galan with the "an." Okay.
With an, yeah,
Galan.
exactly.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to have you on. What was interesting was I was going to say this is a collab between communities, but then you joined our community too. So just kidding. So
Yeah.
how long have you been in SubTo now then?
I joined 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So you're on your 14-day mark. Okay. So you got like 5 deals already then?
Yep.
Okay. Just kidding. Just kidding. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I met you, I'm trying to remember, at Brent Daniels' thing. Was that the first time I met you?
I think so. Was that when it was? Was it the wholesaling summit?
Yeah, that was in April.
I think it was. Yeah, I think that's when we actually like spoke to each other.
Yeah. I think we may have exchanged some information, which is what's really cool about these communities that are ran by like Jamil and Brent and Pace, because they have such a tight friendship that it kind of spills over to the culture that we all kind of have. And I know, as somebody who tried getting into investing like many years ago, it's one of the reasons I love being a part of these communities, because it's so welcoming and more collaborative. And you're like, are we in competition with each other? The answer is yes, but it doesn't have to be nasty, mean, or anything like that. It could be more collaborative, and how do we work together and make money together? So that's what's happening. What's excited about it? So I haven't seen my friend Caroline though. I left on a trip to Havasupai Falls, super remote. Couldn't get internet or cell phone service, so I'm finally back into civilization this Sunday evening. So, Caroline, how have you been? How you been?
I want to know. Tell me, how is it being completely disconnected for? I feel like you were gone for like 5 days, really.
Yeah, I disconnected Wednesday night, yeah, and then didn't connect back in till Sunday night, like legitimately. It was amazing. Got to think about life. And there's no better place to do it than when you're surrounded by nature, especially something as beautiful as the Grand Canyon. If you have an able body and you think you can trek through 11 miles carrying all your shit inside, definitely worth going and doing. We did helicopter out though.
Did you? Okay, I saw your post. I watched your post yesterday. You did 25 miles in total?
Actually, I was starting to do some more of the math, and I think it was a little bit higher than that. But yeah, give or take like a few miles above 25 miles.
Dang.
So, John, are you familiar with Havasupai?
Never even heard of it.
Okay, are you in California? I feel like you're in California.
I'm in New York.
You're in New York. Okay, wow, way off. You should need to look it up. We showed, we talked about it 2 weeks ago, really, but the view, it's incredible. If you can, there, she just put it in the side chat for you. So you need to check it out. So you can really see. Let me get my mouse over here, pull it up on the screen. Havasupai, one of the most beautiful places on the planet, in my opinion. Yeah, and it's Native American land, so you have to get a permit to be able to go. And then you guys had your permits before COVID, so it's like a very highly sought after opportunity to get onto.
Yeah,
and
it's $400 a permit. And we literally have been waiting close to 4 years based on when we got ours. Yeah, because we got it like right before COVID hit. So like in 2019, we're like, all right, we're doing this, the fall of 2019. So that's when we like agreed. Then we put in for permits because we thought we were going to go like that, like March, April. And then the world shut down. So then we've been waiting and waiting until now. So
was it worth the wait?
Definitely worth the wait. I will say I was fitter then. So it was a little bit difficult knowing that I was carrying around a little more weight, but definitely worth it.
You still did it, right?
I still did it. That's right. I may have come back with a sprained ankle and a sprained knee, but I did it.
Really? Holy smokes. Well, so I want to, because I know we're going to be talking about some mindset on here with John. I just want to ask you, like, what was your what was your conclusion? Like, what was your takeaway from spending time with your husband and your daughter with no technology? Like, when's the last time Isla, your teenager, has not had access to the internet?
That's a great point. I was actually going to transition into mindset because when you're, so I did injure myself on my way in. So I ended up being like behind everybody else. And so people are like, is Ingryd okay? Is she going to make it? Like, and so speaking about mindset, like when you're really determined and you're really excited about something, you can change your mind about your circumstance. So as I'm walking, right, because I tweaked my knee, there's a thing called the switchback when you're coming down the mountain, and it's the first like mile and a half, 2 miles, and the ground is not steady. It's a lot of gravel, so that also makes it more difficult. So it's not like a hike. The first part of the hike is not a hike that's like easy, but and you're carrying, your 25, 30 pounds of weight. I'm with the walking sticks, trying not to fall. But, we got to this point where we took a break, everybody took off. And then like, I was like, oh my God, my body was catching up maybe from the adrenaline and the rush and whatever. And I was like, my knee's jacked. So what I determined to say to myself the whole time was, I have an able body and I get to do this. So like the whole time I could have been like, oh, damn, I don't want to do this. This sucks. How can I get out of here? And one of the things that my friend Chris, and he's actually been on the podcast, we went with him, Chris Cahill, he's my insurance guy. He's like, just embrace the suck. Embrace the suck. And so that was also on the back of my head. And, I think about a lot of the attitudes that we have to have towards cold calling, towards door knocking, towards going after your dream. And you're going to have these challenges similar to like, how do you keep going when you feel like you're injured? And your mindset is the thing that's going to carry you through. I hear it over and over again from like, people who've had businesses for a long time. Your mindset is the thing that will make or break your business, period. Everything else is just an activity you do. Mm-hmm. So John, I'm curious in your perspective, because I know you want to talk about mindset, like how does that translate to your business?
Yeah, I mean, like I wholeheartedly believe business is a spiritual game. So, if you hear a lot of time, there's people that were successful and then they hit rock bottom and then they, find God or whatever they believe in, some higher power. And then they have this crazy success again, but now it's fulfilling success. And what I've started realizing after like studying more about like how, connection to like source is pretty much what gives you the fulfilling success is there's 2 levels of success. There's like ego driven success, which is just determined by like you just trying to dog eat dog, just trying to accumulate as much as you can and not really giving back or in service to others. And yeah, you might make a ton of money, but you're not fulfilled. You're not happy. And then sometimes, maybe more often than not, you wind up hitting some sort of rock bottom. That doesn't necessarily mean you lose all your money, but you hit a rock bottom. And then at that rock bottom, you find like God or source or whatever you believe in. You find something higher, right? And then you devote your life to that, and you devote your life to service to others, and just being in a mindset of constant giving and gratitude. And then all of a sudden, boom, whatever you achieved before, you just double that in half the time. You're fulfilled, you're happy, and you're making more money or having more success than you even thought was possible in that short amount of time. And that's all because you just started connecting yourself. So I firmly believe everything you do is like spiritual game, even with your foot, with your body, the way your health is like, it's a matter of what you focus on. Like if you focus on your foot hurting, then all that you're going to keep focusing on your body's just going to say is like, my foot hurts, my foot hurts, my foot hurts.
Yeah, you're reaffirming to your brain what you should be focusing on.
And if you just say, I'm healthy, like, there are people that have cured their own cancer based on mindset. Incurable, they were incurable. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and I'm not saying this happens 100% of the time, but there have been studies and cases where there have been people that just believed they were getting better and said, I'm healthy, I'm getting better each day, and just kept saying that. And all of a sudden their cancer just completely disappeared. And the doctor's just like, what the, like, it's all mindset. Even with placebo effects, if mindset couldn't control your body, the placebo effect would not exist. right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If I gave you medicine and I said this is a real thing, but it was a placebo, and then I told Caroline I gave you medicine and it was a real thing, but I said it was a placebo, Ingrid would probably have a better chance of actually healing than you would, and you're actually taking the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything you think, like you don't see with your eyes, you don't hear with your ears, you see with your mind. Right? I could drop $100 bill on the floor, and if somebody's having a horrible day and only focus on negatives, they'll just walk right past $100 because they're not seeing it. Their eyes could be right on it. Another person that has, just very happy, very grateful and just appreciative of life walks right past it like, oh, $100 and picks it up because they didn't see with their eyes. They both two looked at the same thing. So like your perspective, your outlook, everything, that's what's going to make you successful. That's what's going to, just give you a happy life. And we're all in real estate. And I say this a lot because I've heard this before. What happens to buildings, properties when they appreciate? They go up in value, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're an appreciator of your life, and you're always grateful, you go up in value as well.
I love that. That's great. Okay, let's say it again for the people in the back.
So what happens to properties when they appreciate? They go up in value. If you become an appreciator of your own life, you go up in value as well.
Yes, I love that. That's awesome.
So I'm curious, John, because all of us, we now we're in this little realm, and there's some people that have never heard our podcast or seen you before, and we're live on Instagram and everything. And we are all aware of how important the mindset is. Like we hear it all the time. And I know the Astro community is huge on mindset. Like Jamil comes into the SubTo stuff. He'll do meditations and carry. Have you always been a guy who's been centered around mindset? And okay, you haven't. Okay, good. So when you started talking about that, I'm rereading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it was one of the 10 steps about the power of giving. So I'll talk about that afterwards. But when were you not in a mindset, like giving mindset and like being aware of your mindset? And then what has changed since you've started to be aware of how important the impact of your mindset is?
Yeah. So I was always of like the belief that, your mind controls your body, but that was mostly coming to like physical activities. So I wasn't really about like, and I was like, you know what, I want something, I'm going to work to do it. I didn't really think like it was a mindset thing. It was just like, I'm just going to do what I got to do. It was a discipline thing, right? Which I figured out was mindset as well. But before I joined Astro, I was never into meditations. I wasn't into like, programming my brain. I wasn't into any of that stuff. So it was after I joined Astro and after the week 1 I watched, I was like, you know what? There's something to this. Let me just start getting into it. And then I went down a rabbit hole of like podcasts of different speakers like Wayne Dyer, Earl Nightingale, Abraham Hicks, Louise Hay, Les Brown, Ed Milet. And I just started noticing a common theme, and it was all mindset. And I was like, okay, well, if they're all saying the same thing and they're all successful, they're all happy and grateful and fulfilled, it's got to be the mindset thing. So I just went full steam ahead into mindset and just started picking up a morning routine, wake up at 4 a.m., do like a morning routine from 4 to probably about like 7 o'clock. It's, visualization. I meditate twice. So visualize, then I meditate for 20 minutes, then I journal, then I do a breathing exercise, then I program my brain a little bit, I do some yoga, I work out, I take a cold shower, I meditate again, and then I start my day.
Love it.
That's a lot of shit to do before your day gets started.
I have 2 days every day.
Yeah.
But if you feel great, it gives you a whole new, like when I give myself to do a successful morning routine for me, I need like an hour and a half minimum to feel like I have control of things. So I'm jealous of you for having 3 hours because my day starts at 5, like my work day starts at 5 a.m. So I'm getting like, it's just rough for me, especially over here on the West Coast.
It doesn't have to be 4 hours either. I just schedule it to be 4 hours.
It's enjoyable more.
Yeah. Right, exactly. If sometimes I'm like, you know what, I don't want to do 3 hours. I got a lot more work to catch up on. Let me just do an hour and I'll shorten some things out. I'll cut some things out. There are some non-negotiables like my first meditation, my visualization, and my journaling. Those are non-negotiable. And then I could shorten my breathing exercises and all that other stuff. So it doesn't have to be 3 hours for anybody else listening.
So before you started with Astro, Astro flipping, what were you doing before?
I was a CPA.
What were you making as a CPA in a year?
$90,000.
What are you making in a quarter right now?
I actually haven't looked at the quarter. I know right now we're averaging at least 100K a month.
100K a month. So and this is a team, so it's not just you, but you're making more as a team in a month than you were making in a year as a CPA. Were you doing any mindset stuff before? How much would you say the impact of mindset has changed your bank account and your life?
Oh man, not even just my bank account. My bank account's just a result of the mindset shift. But my life, like before I switched to mindset, I was that person that said, I'm not negative, I'm just realistic. You know that expression. And I was very like just not judgmental, but I wasn't like as open-minded. I was a lot more
a little bit of a cynic.
Yeah, and angry and and all that stuff. And like I would be like, I would get frustrated at other people, stuff like stuff on the news. And now after that, I'm in a constant state of gratitude all the time. I'm open to everybody. I just see beauty in everybody and everything. I don't watch the news anymore, of course.
I don't either.
But it's horrible. Like I'm more intentional about like the thoughts that I think, the words that come out of my mouth, how I word things, how I say things. I'm just overall just happy every single day. And even when I have a bad moment, I'm excited for the bad moments because those are great. These are growing opportunities. Like I want problems, but I want my problems to get bigger. And the more difficult the problem is, the more I get to utilize my creativity, imagination to solve it. And it makes me better because now I grow more. So if my problems aren't getting bigger, I'm doing something wrong.
I love that. So I brought up a Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've gone through a sales training, and I was, a few things. I just talked to May, and I went and got tacos for lunch. I'm like getting speed to the lead. We door knocked the house. I'm like, oh my gosh, let's go get this one. Like this fits right out of the profile. Got lunch and went to this taco spot, and we kind of looked at everybody making our tacos. Great taco spot, incredible tacos. But I'm watching everybody and talking about you're growing and you're learning more. And I'm like, they're all on autopilot. I just had a sales training with my instructor, and May studies like, what are you doing right now? Personal behavior. She's getting her master's in human behavior.
Amazing.
And I was like watching these people, and I'm like, gosh, if you look at them, like they're not there. They're just chopping the meat. They're doing their things. Okay, I'm going to move the tortillas onto the griddle, which is fine. But I used to do that too. I used to manage a Pizza Hut, and it's like we are operating the stat I got from my sales instructor, which they pulled from somebody smarter than them, was 99% of the time we are functioning from our subconscious level. And only 1% of the time our brain is functioning. And a lot of us struggle, and because I've been there, struggle to get out of that comfort zone and have bigger problems so we can solve them, because we like to be in our little, this is what I know, this is what my parents did, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to hang out with my friends. And when you're in that little uncomfortable zone and you're aware of it, more opportunities come your way, you're overall happier, and you're able to give more and help out in your community. And I know that you do a lot in Astro. I know you probably do a lot in your own home community. I'd like to hear it, but I brought this up because you said this. I just went back through and I have ADD, John, so I'll jump around me. But the way that I like to have my notes, this is my book now. I used to not mess with them, but now I highlight in here. And I just went over this I realized Pace has done this, Jamil has done this, and you talk about like mindset. And if everybody, I had this conversation with Meg, and if all of these people, Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, everybody's saying this is what worked out well for them, and why am I trying to recreate the wheel? Why don't I just rip off and duplicate like one of my favorite mentors, Ingryd Hernandez, says? And they've already given me the cheat code. The first time I read Rich Dad Poor Dad was back in 2019 on a flight, and I was just like, how do I get through this book, and when can I get all of the knowledge? I'm reading it again, and I'm like, why don't I slow the heck down and actually make sure I can comprehend what it's saying? So it's so funny that you bring up, we're talking about mindset and giving back. One of the things it talked about is he's his rich dad and he has his poor dad. And his rich dad gave money as well as education. He believed firmly in tithing. If you want something, you first need to give, he would always say. When he was short on money, he gave money to his church or his favorite charity. And whenever he did that, things came back to him tenfold. So if anybody here is listening and this is your first time on our podcast, or if you're on Instagram Live and you're watching this, I will tell you this without a doubt in my mind, because Ingryd has played this game. I don't know if you've played it yet, John. When you come out to Phoenix next, we'll have to have you come over. We play cash flow almost every Thursday night. Have you played it yet?
I actually have it in my closet.
Oh, dope. Okay.
I played it with my family.
Oh, cool. So I remember one of the first times we played it together, and I used to be one of those people who's a skeptic, a cynic, and everything. Like, okay, whatever. Like, they're somehow ripping somebody off. And the first time I played that game, and I know if you've been on here, I've said this before, but it's one of those things when it really hits, it hits the energy and the vibrations you have going into that game and what you're manifesting or what you're hoping for really come true. There is some kind of voodoo magic in that freaking board game, and it's changed the way that I interpret life and how I'm going to go after it. And it's made my life better. And the mindset shift that I started doing at 28 has, the only thing I wish I would have done sooner is started doing self-development mindset. So I'm really happy we're talking about this, and I'm glad that it's resonated with you and just hit again when I was going back through Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I wanted to share that for everybody. If you guys are kind of feeling lost on the sauce, start giving to people, expect nothing in return, and you're going to get rewarded over and over. So that was my little tangent there.
I mean,
But
like whatever you want for yourself, you have to want for other people more. That's the only way you get it. Like if I want abundance for myself, I got to want it for everybody else that I'm working with. If a wholesaler sends me a deal, I want them to sell the deal. I want them to get paid more than I want to get paid. You know what I mean? And then in return, it comes back to me, you know? And like you said, there's a book called The Go-Giver, which we all know. You know, every book that you read, The Go-Giver, The Power of Intention, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know, Power versus Force. Like there's a bunch of books that all say the same thing. Like it's giving. I mean, your purpose in life is found through service through others. Everybody's purpose. If you think about everybody that says like, I have my purpose is X, Y, Z, right? It all is from the same root. The same root is serving others. It doesn't matter how you serve others. Like your purpose is serving others. Now, the way you serve others, that's a different story. But the whole purpose of everybody's life is to serve others. We were all born from the same force. We all came from the same creative mind. I mean, even Max Planck. Max Planck was a physicist who won the Nobel Prize for studying the atom, right? Studying the atom, and he won a Nobel Prize. And in his speech, he literally said, for his conclusion was that particles don't create more particles. So therefore, there's got to be the existence of some universal mind that is in control of everything. He literally said, a scientist, and he's irrefutable proof, said there is a field out there that brings everything to existence. You know, whether you call it God, source, the field of intention, whatever you want, there is a higher power mind that connects us all. Like we are all connected to everyone, to everything, every plant, every blade of grass, every animal. We're all actually connected. So we have to stop with the separateness view and look at it as more of a oneness. So if I want for you abundance, the abundance will come back to me as well, right? And the way we have to live like each day through the field of intention, let's call it, right? The faces, which is every day we have to stay creative. We have to be kind. We have to be loving. We have to see beauty. We have to always be expanding, which is growing. We have to be abundant and receptive, which is non-judgmental. That's what the universe is. That's what God is. That's what the source is. And it's in us because we created from it. So we are all God. And when you start looking at yourself as not a human being, and this is another saying that Abraham Hicks said, Wayne Dyer said, we are not human beings having temporary spiritual experiences. We are spiritual beings have a temporary human experience. We are not this body, this flesh. Like we are not just this meat sack that just is born, becomes a kid, you know, gets a job, accumulates stuff, procreates, and then dies. That is not why we were born. That's otherwise, what's the point of our life? We're all meant to do amazing things. We just have to connect to the source and realize our purpose and follow that intention and that intuition in our gut. And like if we're all living our life on purpose, right, and we're inspire other people, then world as we know it becomes a happier place. 87% of the people in the world vibrate on a low energy. 87% is, and now the high vibrations, it's not a one-to-one counterbalance. Like if you vibrate high, I'm pretty sure it said one person connected to intention could counterbalance the negative activity of 700,000 people. One person vibrating very high, connected to intention. That's in the book Power versus Force. He did a whole big thing.
What's the book again?
Power versus Force by David Hawkins. He said if Jesus was around today, it would, as Jesus or Buddha or you know, Gandhi, they were vibrating, they were like angelic. If they were around today, it would negate all of the negative vibrations in the world.
May's over here. She's in the background working, but she said Marlon Johnson just told her to read that book today. So
there you go.
The universe is screaming at
me. The universe is telling you. That's
the universe
great.
Is telling. Yep. And the reason why I read it was because in The Power of Intention, which is one of my favorite books ever by Wayne Dyer, he mentioned it so many times. I was like, I got to read this thing.
Okay.
So, John, let's circle back to when you didn't have mindset being the center of your focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was there anything that instigated that for you that you're like, you had an aha moment? And I also have a follow-up a little bit later, because you went from what I assume was a 9 to 5 to an all-in, and like what that I selfishly want to understand more of that transition,
Yeah.
because I will be making that transition myself. But like wondering like how like what turned you on to this? And for me, it's been Pace and Jamil. Like, I've heard people talk about this stuff, but like I, I know that Jamil is revered for this sort of perspective, but like when I look at Pace's mindset, that dude is on a totally different level. And if you take a look at like it's just interesting, right? Because for me, Jamil seems a bit more spiritual about it. If I was to make like a superficial judgment call, right? Where Pace is a bit more I don't know, like tactical, like go get shit done sort of a way of looking at it, but his mindset is like on another level. Like, and so just wondering for you, like where were your like where was that transition for you to be like, okay, I got to go do this?
And before you respond, John, hang on 1 second. For everybody, if you don't know Pace, she's being 100%. I think I texted him like last year on my birthday, or he said happy birthday to me. And I said, thank you so much. Like, how's it going? He's like, I'm incredible. He's like, I am Iron Man. And that is the mindset. Like every day he believes he's Iron Man. And that's what what you tell yourself, like we have the same thoughts that we had yesterday. So if you tell yourself you're a maggot and you're worthless, like you're going to believe that. But if you're like, I'm Iron Man, and you walk around like that, you're going to have incredible self-confidence. So I want to just add that in there.
So Pam White, who's in the comments, I read it and it said, your mindset hurdle is that you're not smart enough to be great at this, even though you excel at other endeavors. I would argue that whatever story you're telling yourself is what matters a little bit more than whether or not the synapses in your brain are firing fast enough. Because the smartest people don't always make the most money at this. Because I will argue my intelligence is extremely high. But I'm not kicking ass and taking names in real estate like a John Galan. I'm not saying I'm smarter than you. I'm just saying like action taking and mindset definitely trump intelligence.
Always. Always. And I mean, we're all geniuses in our own way. So like, no matter what it is, everybody's a genius. We're all born again from this force, this source that is just omnipresent and just everywhere, you know, like it's in everywhere at every time, in everyone. And like when you start realizing like you're connected to that, and again, like you could do whatever you want. If you desire it, this source didn't bring you down here to just be mediocre. You know, if you believe you're destined for greatness, which we all are, and you just start reinforcing that all of the time, like you're going to reach whatever you manifest, because you manifest who you are, not what you want. Right. But the question was, what was the shift, right? When did I start getting into it? It was after week 1 of Astro. I was like, because I was tired of being in my 9 to 5. I was like, all right, I joined this course. Let me listen to it exactly what he says. And he was like, mindset. I was like, okay, mindset it is then. So I started getting into mindset. I started doing the meditations. It was tough at first because sitting for 20 minutes to meditate, I was like, what am I, like, I was like, I have ADHD and all this stuff. Again, a story I told myself that I followed. And then I started doing it consistently, and I started noticing myself happy, and I started noticing like the things that I had no doubt in my mind I said I was going to do wound up happening, and just synchronicities in my life, because now I started like noticing things and being more intentional about the way I speak to myself. And then the more I research things, I'm like, you know what, like this makes sense. And then you get more excited because when you realize like you control your life, and not only do you control it, like you're just an observer, your sensory experiences, you're an observer of, right? We have this intended path. Like if you look at nature, everything has an intention, right? An acorn becomes an oak tree, an apple blossom becomes an apple, but you never see something in nature. Like an oak tree never becomes a pumpkin. It always follows its intended purpose. The only reason why we don't is because we have an ego, and our ego is what separates us. So like our free will at every given day, every moment is, do I follow the path with spirit and intention, or do I follow my path of my own ego, which again will separate me from my purpose in life and fulfillment. That's what every single day, every single action we make, those are the two choices.
May's over here. Just say that one more time, because I just could see her in the reflection of my computer. She's like, I like this guy. Can you say that? She's a fan.
Our own free will is, we always have two choices at any given moment with any decision we make. We either follow our intention, our intended purpose through the life of the spirit, or we just follow our ego and go down the ego path, which is not going to give you fulfillment. Ego always stands for it. I'm sure a lot of people know, stands for edging God out. Because ego is a contract we make.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, you never heard that?
No.
Edging God out.
I haven't heard that, but I was going to tell you, John, the way that I like to think about ego is your ego is not your amigo. It's not helping you. Your ego does no bueno for you. But May wanted me to show you on the back of her phone. She's a little. Oh, it comes from the power of now, and it says, "I am a witness to the voice in my head."
I love that.
Let me share that with you.
Power of Now. That's not it's on my list. I got to read that book.
There you go.
The Power of Now.
The Power of Now.
Anyways,
I'm gonna read that. But ego is just like a construct we make about like who and what we are, and it's when we have these ego thoughts, that's what holds us back from living this divine life. Because any ego-driven thought disconnects you, because you're coming from a different place. Ego is like, I am what I have defines me. Like my reputation defines me. I'm separate from what I want. I'm separate from God. I'm separate from everybody else. Ego gives you separation. And it's through that separation that you're disconnected. If you listen to John Gordon, he says all the time, oneness, not separateness. And he had a moment in life where he was in a rock bottom. He found God. He started going through oneness, and then boom, fulfillment, instant fulfillment, skyrockets. And Ed Milet, he openly speaks about how much he loves God. He speaks about fulfillment, and the fulfillment is about literally just appreciating life, being grateful. Because every day when you're grateful, you're literally telling God, like, thank you for all the blessings. Thank you for the abundance in my life. And it keeps coming back, right? Because giving to other people and giving to source is the same thing. So if you complain about what you have, I have too much to do, I can't do this. You're saying, hey, stop it. I got too much. You're giving me too much. Stop blessing me right now. And then it all stops, right? So if you're going through a rough patch in your business, are you complaining about the calls you have to make? Are you complaining about you have 10 comps now to comp instead of 5? Are you complaining at all? Because that's depreciating your life.
You're not appreciating, so you can level up.
Exactly.
I like the way I like the visuals I'm getting.
So Steve Harvey says the same thing. His number one secret to success is gratitude. But yeah, it was Astro, the shit from Astro, and then listening to everybody else, reading these books, and just noticing a common pattern. Like Tony Robbins says, pattern recognition. I recognized a common pattern was mindset. And then as I got further into mindset, I started just trusting my gut more and realizing, like, as I keep getting connected each day, my gut is pulling me. I don't read books based on what I want to read. I just let my gut tell me, like, hey, read this book. And every time I read a book, it's like, this is exactly what I need to know right now.
Yeah.
The power of intention. And then now, after reading that book, I started getting more spiritual. And now when I listen to these podcasts again, or new podcasts, I start noticing that a lot of the people are saying the same thing now. Is about being connected, being one, and realizing that, being a giver, not a getter, not a taker. Yeah.
I love that. And especially for those of us who maybe didn't grow up that way, I'm 41 and I feel like I'm just barely getting started on feeling or recognizing the level of energies like that. Like, never in my life did I ever think I was going to talk about energies. And so I was out yesterday showing houses and literally had 7 houses to show because I had a buyer from California come out here. They're only here for a day. So I showed them houses yesterday. Mark showed them houses today. We go into this property and right away I was like, oh, the energy is beautiful in this house. Like, just the way things were laid out and whatever. And I would never talk about stuff like that. And then coming to find out the people who live there, the guy's a pastor. Like, the pastor lives there. They're extremely spiritual, very involved, obviously, in the church. But it was just interesting how that was so prevalent. And we had no idea who lived there, right? And so it's just interesting how I'm 41 and I feel like I'm just barely tapping into what energies are, like how things feel, like your gut feeling, things that you mentioned like that. And I totally am in agreement with the book thing, because the last few books I've read feel like they came at the right time. Dean Graziosi was at Pace's Mastermind.
Mhm.
I didn't realize he was the one who said I should read this book, but Pace reinforced it, called The Big Leap. And The Big Leap has been like, I want to go and like listen to it again, because there were so many like aha pieces to it, including like you talked about patterns. He talked about upper limit behaviors, like things that it takes a whole new person to become who you want to be, right? Like if you want to be this bigger investor, this bigger business person, whatever that may look like for you, that takes a different person than you are right now. And so if it takes a different person than you are right now, it takes different habits, and it also takes different reactions. In order for you to be able to take on those bigger problems, as you mentioned, John, you need to be able to react differently. And I even talked to Caroline about this before. Like I used to get, when I first got my first property, and the tenants or the short-term rental people would reach out to me, like my gut would hurt. Like I would be scared to hear what is the problem that they ran into. And now when I get these things, I'm like, like kind of rolls off. You're like, all right, whatever. We're just going to deal with this. Like at first it was really scary. And then you kind of get beat up a little with the things that come at you, including having to buy a new $10,000 HVAC system, right? So you're like, luckily, take care of your credit score, kids, because I was able to just put it on a card and 0 interest in a whole year to pay it off. So like going through that, you're like, oh shit, okay, I was able to solve for that. What else am I going to be able to solve for?
Yeah.
So I don't know where I was rambling with this, but all to say is like, I'm really old, and it's never too late
No, you're
to
not.
get more spiritual and get more aligned with your purpose and intention. So I love what you're saying.
Don't say you're really old.
Okay.
Even joking around, like honestly, like even joking around little things, subtle things like that triggers your body too. So like,
but I don't think being old is a bad thing.
No, but your body might react differently to being old. You know what I mean? Because what is it we associate being
What
old
happened to you on your hike? What happened in the first mile of your hike, Ingrid? It's because you told yourself you were old and you were just fit.
This is true. This is true.
One thing I want to say about the Dean Graziosi thing is to become somebody different, right? But the biggest thing you have to realize too is you are not separate from that other person. So if you think like I have to become somebody else, like you're thinking you have to be somebody you're not, but that is you. And every day, if you want to become a certain person, live in that moment for a second of what you want to manifest, and then sit for a while in silence and just think like, okay, I'm here. What am I thinking? What am I feeling right now? How do I walk? Like, okay, and then just cultivate that person. And every morning and every night before you go to sleep and when you wake up, live as that person. And guess what? Now you're that person every day. So instead of being in a state of striving, you're in a state of arriving. And you're there right now. So because if you're in a state of striving, you're going to constantly manifest striving.
Out these phrases left and right. You're just, I can't keep up with all your cute phrases where I'm like, oh, you're not in the state of striving. You're in the state of arriving. I love it.
And that's what we want to be in. And another thing too, with like the gratitude thing that just came to mind is if you guys do a deal and it's for free or it's for a little bit of money, don't say like, oh, I just made $2,500. Like, no, thank you, God, for this sign of abundance in my life. I appreciate it and I welcome it. Like if you want $100,000 and you get 10 grand and be like, well, I wanted 100, you only give me 10. Like that's not gratitude. Just anything, any little thing, a free deal, a penny on the floor, a dime, and thank you for the sign of abundance in my life. And that's it. Just be appreciative to that because it'll come. It'll come. You're not going to constantly complain about if you do one $10,000 deal, you complain about it, you stop. But then if you do 10 $10,000 deals, well, guess what? You just made your 100 grand.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. I love that. Interesting.
I also wanted to thinking about you reading this book and everything, you're like, it's resonating with you again with me with Rich Dad Poor Dad. You're ready to receive now. Mm-hmm. You're ready to actually see stuff and you're ready to appreciate it because this is the season of life you're in and you're hanging around the right tribe.
Yeah. And that's probably why the Power of Intention, I had that book for a year and I never felt ready to read it. And then all of a sudden one day I'm like, I feel such a strong pull to read that. And I read it, and I know for a fact when I first started my mindset journey, that book would not have hit the way it did. And I needed it at that moment. And now I'm reading it. And then I read it, and I was like, perfect. I felt the puzzle pieces connect. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
I've really enjoyed rereading Rich Dad Poor Dad. So if any, I'm curious because we have quite a few people on here. What books have you guys read before that you've reread now that's resonated with you? And you're like, oh my gosh, I took a new nugget away from it. And I like being around circles. I like going to the masterminds and hearing everybody. Like, I'm like, that's such a unique perspective. Like, I'm not going to forget about the appreciation now. I'm not going to forget how I can rise to the occasion because I'm appreciating life. And if I start depreciating life, I'm going to lose value in certain aspects. And it's driving and driving. It's a really fun way to change just a little tweak, and it adds so much abundance to your life.
Yeah.
All right. Ingrid, did you have any more questions for John? Sorry, I knew I cut you off there.
Well, John, I feel like with these books that you've read that really were calling to you, for somebody who's just starting on this journey, can you name like a top 2 or 3 books that you feel are really good directional books to kind of get you on this path?
The Miracle Morning. Eddie Charger actually put me on that a while ago. I push
that every Thursday.
You do that Miracle Morning?
Do you have the app?
No, actually, I didn't even know there was an app. I printed out the book when I first read it.
They updated the app. Yeah, I read it. I remember I listened to it like on my birthday, like 2 years ago, and I've been pushing it out everywhere. They have an app though. It used to be like free. Now it's $8, but you get meditations. You get all kinds of stuff in it. It's great. Now they have a lot of bonuses on there. But yeah, how I read Elrod, The Miracle Morning, and Miracle Morning Millionaires. They have a bunch of different variations of how to be like a better parent and stuff. One of my favorite all time. I think that's the best first book to start with. So I'm really glad you said
great.
That.
Because it helps you start realizing why you do certain things. And then Inner Size by John Assaraf.
Haven't done that. Pam just asked, what's the app? The Miracle Morning. It's just called The Miracle. I'll put it in the side chat. Sorry, what was your other book, John?
Yeah, I was going to say, because Inner Size, so John Assaraf, he's another guy, great person to listen to. He was on The Secret, but he says, like, I don't really like The Secret because they forget one key element, which is the law of Goya, which stands for get off your ass. Right?
Yes.
That you're not like when you manifest stuff, when you look into things and you visualize stuff, you still have to take action and to move the needle towards that direction. But now, as the more you visualize it, you will feel more compelled to take certain different actions. Exactly. Yeah. So like he's like, I don't really like the way The Secret was written because they forget about the law of Goya. So
and it's great on your seasoning of rice or chicken.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first, and then he said it. But Inner Size. So Inner Size stands for like when you exercise your body, that's external exercises. When you inner size, it's inner exercises for your brain. So he goes through different things. It's a really good like first introduction, very easy to read book. And then like you could always go down. Think and Grow Rich is a good book. It's just the English sometimes is hard to comprehend because it's like an older book in like the 1920s. Yeah. So, but Think and Grow Rich is just a classic book. And
we don't have to overwhelm anybody. What did we get? Are we at 3 or 4 books?
Yeah, I think we got. I would recommend those first 2 by far. Miracle Morning to get you on your morning routine, and then Inner Size to just kind of learn about the way your brain works because he studied neuroscience now, and he's in real estate as well. And he's built like 7 businesses, all multi-million, even some $1 billion businesses.
Interesting.
So, yeah, Inner Size was a great book.
One of the things I did a Zoom earlier with some Bigger Pockets people, and it's different community, different people. And one of my favorite parts I've gotten from Robert Kiyosaki was the definition of the word focus. So I'm curious, John, when you get started, because I had multiple people in that Zoom that are getting started in investing. They are not in Astro, they're not in SubTo, they haven't joined like a mentorship to learn. When you first started, were you reading 4 books at a time? Were you doing 20 things at once? Was that helpful? Like, what helped you move further? And I say this, and we've talked about this a lot, and I'll bring in one of my favorite mentors' quotes here after I ask you. But were you doing 20 things at once, or did you focus on one at a time?
Books, I've always focused on one at a time. When I first started, I had some shiny object syndrome. I tried being a nationwide wholesaler. Because listen, when you first start off, you're not a nationwide wholesaler. I'll tell you that right now. And it's not going to get you your first deal quicker by being in multiple markets. So I was in multiple markets. I went down the whole large multifamily, 3.5% buyer's fee, NDA, all that stuff. And then I'm glad I did that in the beginning because I learned and I got all those things out. And then it wasn't until I quit my job when I realized, okay, let me focus on one market, one outreach method, and just hone in on that. And that's what I did. And then I just started building from there.
How long did you focus on that one market?
I started doing that market. I would say I started doing that in I quit my job.
I'm saying this while he's thinking about it. While he's thinking of that, I want you guys to notice this. This is a very important question. You might want to take note. So how long from when you started it till you felt like you mastered that one market?
Got my mark. So it took me 5 months to actually get into just the one market.
Okay.
And then after that, I got 5 deals on the next month, right after I quit my job.
You were all in. You were doing this full time, or you still at your W-2 job?
For 2 months, I was at my W-2 job. Once I quit my job, I had actually gone to the Astro Mastermind, and then I came back, and my last day was on the Tuesday. I flew back on a Monday, and then literally 2 weeks later, I got the second deal done of my life. And then
so the mastermind was the thing that pushed you over, and you're like,
no, I was already going to the mastermind. I had already put in a 2-month notice because I was grateful for the way they treated me, so I didn't want to leave them high and dry. So I had a 2-month notice. So I had already quit my job before the mastermind.
Oh, and then how many deals had you done before that?
One, just the one back in April.
That's some conviction, man. You were really believing in yourself.
Yep.
So 5 months, shiny object syndrome. What?
3 months shiny object. 3 months shiny object syndrome.
Okay, we've all been there. I've had it. Ingrid had it. We've all had it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad I got it out early.
Dialed in focus were you before you started getting consistent deals?
Honestly, I only started getting consistent deals once I quit my job. I don't say that's the reason. It's just I was more intentional because after the mastermind, there was a shift because I was like, all right, I confirmed what I believed. And then I had a one-on-one with Jamil. And instead of having him tell me, I just told him, this is my plan. What do you think about this? I try to do this. He said yes, and then add this and that. And so I just did it. I didn't stray from it at all. Anything that didn't apply to that plan, I just didn't do it.
Say that one more time for everybody to hear that one more time. Anything that
didn't apply to that plan, that strayed away from it, I did not do it. I just stuck to that plan.
Please hear them, especially if you're new and you're getting started, or if you're like, I've been doing this for so long and I don't have a deal. One of the best real estate investors I know, one of my favorite mentors, narrow the focus, expand the reach. You can cover more when you're narrowing the focus and you're expanding the reach. Literally, what a perfect visual. If you guys can see this on YouTube, narrow it in. I'm covering the entire camera because I've narrowed the focus. Now, if I'm out here and I'm trying to do, I can't get the reach. I can't do it. So I come back to, at the beginning, I brought up the word focus. Focus stands for follow one course until successful. Follow one course until successful. Follow one course until successful. Follow one freaking course until you're successful. Don't get distracted by shiny objects. John, can people JV with you?
Oh, I do. Most of my deals are JV.
Okay. Ingrid and I do JVs. We help people close deals. I go direct to seller. We go direct to seller. Guys, if any of you are watching this, if you're on Instagram Live, if you're on YouTube, if you're listening to the recording after the fact, the best thing you can do is to collaborate with somebody, and then just stay singularly focused on something until you feel comfortable. Don't come into real estate investing and think you can do calculus immediately. You started with arithmetic in school. Master 2 + 2 = 4 before you try and do long division and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get the hang of it. Look at that. See? Look at this. That's me. 4 months, no deal. Plenty of offers, nothing. That's okay. You just keep going. You just don't quit. If you don't quit, you will be successful. And I just wanted to bring that home for everybody. And I see John even has, let me remove this. John even has his email on his username right there. So you guys can email deals@snapflip.net and connect with John. Ingrid and I have both of our Instagrams on here. Where's mine? And you guys can message us. But if you guys are feeling lost in the sauce, we are your beacon of hope right now. You can flash your SOS light at us and we will help you out. We help people all the time. Just stay focused on one thing. There's a hair floating around me. If you're doing nationwide investing and you're brand new, stop, breathe.
Mm-hmm.
One market, pick a market that actually has stuff going on. Don't pick a barn in the middle of nowhere, America. pick something where there's opportunity and people want to buy, but we could go into that and help you guys out a ton. So I just
So
wanted
John,
to
what markets are you in though? Because I
Right
think
now,
the
only
neighborhood,
Florida.
right?
Right now, I'm only in Florida. I started off
All
in Tampa,
Florida?
St. Pete. Yeah, I started off in Tampa, St. Pete. Then I went to Central Florida. Then I went to the Panhandle, and now I'm just in all of Florida.
Love it.
Okay, so you picked one state then.
Yeah, I picked one, and I plan on, like, the plan is to pretty much I'll master the Florida market to where we're assigning 100K a month passively, where I don't have to touch the day-to-day stuff. And then once I get that blueprint down, I could recreate it in another market, do that in like 4 other markets. So I'll have 5 corporate stores and then franchise it out and start franchising, like the Keeley model essentially, and then franchise that thing out and then eventually sell the company for like $5 billion.
I love it.
So that's the whole goal. And that's the intention too, though. Like, you notice, like I just said, sell the company for $5 billion. I'm not just randomly taking a number and just saying like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do it. Like it's happening. It's happening because I already know it is, because I visualize it every single day. I've already sold it. I sell my company for $5 billion every single morning. So it's not unfamiliar anymore. It's familiar to me.
You said 5 billion with a B?
With a B, yeah, with a B.
Right on.
Home Investors sold for, I think, a little under $4 billion, that franchise. So Home Investors could do it. Why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can. But I was about to say something else. I just totally. What were you saying before? You were saying narrowing your focus, focus on the
Expand your reach.
Expand your reach.
It'll come back to you. Oh, go ahead.
I got it. So, Javier, you said that's me. 4 months, no deal yet, right? Don't even focus on the no deal yet, because when you put your attention on that, there are 4 things you should never put your attention on.
Ooh,
right?
Write this down. I feel it. Hold on. I need you to talk a little slower, John, because your
I'm
shit
from
is
New
really
York.
good. You're dropping gems, and I need people to write notes. I'm even writing my notes. Okay, so like I get it. Okay.
So 4 things,
Uh-huh.
and I won't speak with my New York fastness. 1.
It's okay. My Arizona slowness will slow.
My Arizona slowness. I'll come back. 1, you don't focus on what is if you don't like what is. When you start focusing on the situation you're in right now and you don't like the situation, you focus on it, you keep attracting that into your life. You don't focus on what is, you focus on what's going to be by living in that every day. 2, you don't focus on what's missing in your life. For instance, I don't have a deal yet. You're focusing on the lack of deals. You're focusing on what's missing, the missing of a deal, right? Oh, I don't have this money. You're focusing on the lack of money. All you're doing is attracting more of what's missing in your life. But that's scarcity. That's not abundance. So don't focus on what's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Always be grateful for what you have already. 3, don't focus on what always has been. If you focus on what always has been, then it always will be. If you think your past defines you, if you think that's the story you're going to be living the rest of your life, then that's continuously the story. The beautiful thing about this is any given day you could change the story, and then that's the new way you're living, right? So if you're thinking, oh, I've been this way for 10 years. Okay, so stop it. You've been that way for 10 years. You're done. Now, from now on, you're this new person. You're changing your story consistently. You could change it at any moment. The beautiful thing about God is God doesn't take 2 weeks to eventually work. It's like, hey, I want to change my life. Okay, done immediately. God works immediately. And then the last thing is don't focus on what other people want for you. If you consistently complain about, oh, my mom wants me to become a doctor. You know, my mom wants me to become a doctor. She wants me to become a doctor. You're going to become a doctor. You're focusing on what you don't want, and you're going to attract that into your life. Don't focus on what other people want for you. It's not their life. It's yours. You know your intended purpose. You know your calling. You want to be a singer. You want to be an actress. Do it. Somebody's like, you're not going to make any money in that. Don't focus on that. And again, that's missing, right? Don't focus on any of that. Just live the life that you're intended to have. Keep being connected to your source, and just don't focus on those 4 things, because your thoughts hurt your connection, right? Always have a match to intention. I don't have enough money. No. I am abundant, and I always attract abundance into my life. Money just flows to me all the time. And like when you say this stuff, like don't just say it, like, you know,
Mean it.
Yeah, mean it, feel it, use your
I am
whole
abundant.
body.
Life is
Exactly. Because you got to get emotion into it. You got to get your body into it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to feel it, you know? So just focus on those. And then your level of energy. I mean, Ingrid, you just said something about furniture. Furniture has energy. That's why the thing called feng shui exists. Right? Furniture has energy. TV has energy. Music has energy. pictures have energy. The people you're around have energy. The places you go have energy. Everything has energy. Do you know the average American child, 14 years old, sees 12,000 simulated murders by that age because of TV? 12,000 simulated murders by watching TV, 14 years old, average American child. Tell me that doesn't have energy. The anxiety you feel, and now I'm not diminishing anxiety or stress, but there is actually no such thing as that. It's just anxious thoughts and stressful thoughts. It's your thoughts that create that feeling of anxiety and stress, right? So
I'm loving looking at May. May's over here. She's like, this guy is really just he's just so smug right now watching this.
Yeah.
But everything has energy. So raise your energy levels. Be conscious about where you are, how you speak into yourself. What are you watching on TV? What are you looking at constantly every day? How's your furniture? Are you disorganized? That will make you feel disorganized. Who are you being around all the time? Are you always spending your time around people that drink? Are you always spending your time in bars? That all has energy. And then the last thing is the way you view yourself. Like, let go of your need to win. Let go of your need to be right. Let go of feeling superior. All those things is ego dominated. When you feel superior to other people, you see inferiority in other people, and that creates more separateness, right? And we're not trying to compete with other people. We're always trying to be better than we were the day before. We're only competing with ourselves at the end of the day. Don't compete with anybody else. You want them to succeed. You want them to have abundance, and it'll come back to you. And every day you live your life that way, just consistently doing that. Focus on the good things. Focus on everything you have around you. Beautiful thoughts create a beautiful life. Focus on the beauty around you, right? Stressful thoughts create a stressful life. Hostile thoughts create a hostile life. You as two people live in the same exact area, next door neighbors. One person, hey, how's the neighborhood? It sucks. Everybody's so mean and angry. Yeah, they're right, because that's what they see, because that's what they're telling themselves. Next door neighbor, how's the community? Oh my God, it's beautiful. I love it. Everybody's so nice. It's great. They're right. It's a matter of perception. So your thoughts become your reality. Really be focused on what you're thinking. Be intentional about your thoughts.
Do you have a meditation or something? I feel like you're like, I know that Jamil has one that he's listened to on YouTube. Is there a meditation, that one you pick, that we could share with everybody? And maybe like, would you be down, John? This is just a random thought I have. Would you be down to like go through maybe a morning routine with us sometime on like a Saturday or something?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, cool. Great. Yeah. Decided. So now I want to know, what is the meditation that you like to listen to?
So I do two meditations. So the first one is the 6-phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani. And he has a book. I would also recommend reading the book, because I started enjoying the meditation a lot more after reading the book and finding out why he chose the way he chose those 6 phases.
6-phase meditation?
Yeah. So it's phase 1 is gratitude. Phase 1 is compassion. Phase 2 is gratitude. Phase 3 is forgiveness. Phase 4 is visualizing your future 3 years from now. Phase 5 is visualizing your perfect day. And then phase 6 is a blessing. It's all 18-minute meditation.
This one?
Yep.
All right, there we go. Oh, May said that we've done it before, so.
Yeah, great meditation. And then the other one I do, which Wayne Dyer recommended, which I've been doing for the last 4 days, and every time I'm done with it, I feel like insane. It's indescribable. It's called Japa meditation. Japa.
Japa, Japa.
Yeah, Wayne Dyer.
But you said
down.
to read the book on the 6-phase meditation first, right? And then there's actually a video to it.
So you could read the book first, or you could just start the meditation and read the book as well. But there is a book. It's a great book. He's also if you ever heard of Mind Valley, he's the CEO of Mind Valley. He's the founder of Mind Valley.
Okay.
And he has a program too on there where he goes through. So if you don't want to read the book, you could go through the program and then do the meditation.
This one's by Wayne Dyer.
No, look up Japa Meditation, Wayne Dyer, Hay House, Hay House. Because it's only 20 minutes. Yeah, and then Space House, yeah. That one. First one.
Right here?
Yep.
Cool. See, I like doing these where I can get you to show me exactly which one it is so I don't mess it up there. So perfect.
But this one you have to make noise. Like you have to go when he tells you to do it and visualize stuff. So find the quiet space if you're going to do it in the morning. Don't wake up the person next to you by just doing that for 20 minutes.
Well, there's interesting because so first of all, thank you I've never taken as many notes as I have today during one of our guests, and I feel like maybe you talking to us right now was another sort of godly intention, because like I was saying, like, you know, I'm working to see about transitioning out of my 9 to 5. And as they say, success leaves clues, right? Like your results have paved the way of leaving these clues. Like making 100K a month as a team does not happen by happenstance, right? There's the Goya impact of it. But I really love that you had a plan. You know, I feel like we get these stories of folks who just jump off the cliff, but really don't have a plan of action and just think things will magically appear. So I really love that you have this plan and it's a part of it. However, these habits, these routines are the things that help you get to that level and excel those levels. And so it's important to have those pieces that will help you be successful. You're leaving clues for all of us. So for the audience out there, I hope you guys are finding value in what John is saying. Like, this isn't just, you know, pluck it out of the, you know, thin air. This is intention. It's intention having a plan. It's intention having a routine. It's intention to be open-minded and read more and think more through those things. By the way, somebody gave you a compliment, Cora Jane, on the comments, is like, dude, John, when's your book coming out?
You know what? I never thought about writing one, but maybe I will.
Really? You haven't? I'm actually surprised that hasn't been a part of your plan.
It's been like flirted with the idea at one point, but not yet. But maybe I will write a book.
Yeah. I've never heard an accountant be so spiritual. So I feel like there's
I'm not an accountant anymore.
Yeah. This is true, but like that's your transformation, right? Like how you can really change your life if you choose to. So that's awesome.
Change your thoughts.
Yeah, I love it. This is awesome. I don't know, Caroline.
Well, I was just going to say, John, we've already kept you over on time. So the only thing I want to, this is the question I ask everybody before we wrap up a podcast, and everybody that's still on here, thank you so much for tuning in and asking questions for John and being part of our little community here. If you guys would, please, we are just trying to grow and beat the YouTube algorithm. If you guys could click the like button on this video, that would mean a lot. And if you guys have not already, if you would subscribe, that would help us a ton. Now, with me getting the housekeeping out of the way here, John, if you could go back at any point in your life, anytime, you have 2 minutes to talk to yourself. When would you go back and what would you say?
Honestly, I want to go back because everything happened the way it's supposed to happen. And if I went back and changed anything, I want to be where I'm at. And who knows? So like the path that I'm taking, it was the path I was supposed to go down. I joined Astro on a gut feeling. I went to my college on a gut feeling. And when I reflect back on my life and I noticed the way it happened, and it was just all like, I thought coincidences, but really was not coincidences. It was the intended path I was supposed to take. So I wouldn't change anything. I want to go back. If I did, I would just tell myself, keep doing what you're doing. And I wouldn't say anything else to change it.
Wow. I love that.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, John, thank you for coming on here. Let's connect so we can do maybe a morning routine that makes sense for you. And Ingryd, I'll let you sign us out here. If you have anything else you want to say.
Well, like Caroline said, please like, subscribe, share if you guys found this valuable. Go follow John. John, how can people find you?
What's your Instagram?
So my name on Facebook is just John Galan, and then my IG is John Galan, and then REI.
There it is. I tagged you earlier. I'll share the link so everybody can see it on the side chat.
I just want to say thank you to you two for not only like the podcast that you do, but for all the help you provide in the communities. I mean, before, like as soon as I joined, I already knew who you two were just based on the giver attitudes that you've had. So the lives that you've impacted as well, it's, you know, you might not have heard or see it as much, but I see it all the time. So the fact that you two, give your time, give your help, give your energy, it's really amazing. And I'm very grateful to have both of you in my life and know you two, be able to exchange this energy. So I just want to say thank you for the impact that you both have on all these communities and on myself as well.
Thank you.
Great. That's so beautiful. Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate it. I receive your good comments. Thank you. I think both Caroline and I have a very similar attitude of just, knowing and feeling what it's like to get started and feeling like being talked down to. And that's not our goal. Our goal is to try to be as informative as possible and help everybody get to Goya. So I love that. I think I'm going to start using that more often because there's like a Latino brand, of spice to it. So I was like, interesting. I love it. And so thank you, everybody out there. Go follow John on Instagram and message him at deals@snapflip.net if you want to collaborate with him, especially in Florida. Now, Caroline and I will buy in Florida. So, hook us up.
I got you. Creative deals.
Love Pinellas County. That's where I used to live in Pinellas County before I moved out here. So Dunedin, tough one. Dunedin, Clearwater. If you get anything in Dunedin, I'm interested.
For creative or cash as well?
More so creative.
I would say creative, yeah.
But I do have some buyers there. So if you need help with stuff.
Anything I creative or anything that's about to be structured creative there, I'll just bring it your way so you can set your terms.
Fantastic.
John, thank you so much. I am going to have one more ask for everybody. Since there's still some people on here and watching this, take a moment here. Write down your favorite takeaways that you got from this podcast. Like, May was in her office working and she came out and tiptoed over on the couch so she could listen in. She tried to sneak by me and I just watched her. She liked your Instagram. She's already following you, John, and she's already shown me her favorite post from yours. So thank you so much for being a light in all of this. Guys, go Goya. Okay. Go take imperfect action and learn what you need to. And we will see you guys next Wednesday at 4:00. Remember, every Wednesday we do this. John, we'll connect and we'll have to do a Saturday morning meditation together.
Let's do it.
Thank you, everyone.